Television. Something we all watch on a regular basis throughout our lives. And behind the screen, there are those who produce and eventually want to control it to achieve perfection. And these two TV-headed individuals take center stage in making nothing but perfection their brand. VOX, de facto leader of the V's and CEO of VOX Tech, versus Mr. Puzzles, entertainer extraordinaire and the creator of Puzzlevision. My name's Milk Thief, and welcome to my first power scaling video. The intro could probably use some work. Hell, the supernatural realm of demons, populated by the native Hellborns and those who are humans and have died and had their souls sent to hell, the sinners. This place was formed thousands of years ago, when Lucifer offered the fruit of knowledge to Eve, spawning free will into the world. Unfortunately, the higher-ups of heaven weren't exactly too fond of Lucifer's ways and ideas for creation, seen as a chaotic troublemaker who only made things more dangerous to their order, even though he was a dreamer and only wanted the best for the creation of humanity. Afterwards, from dust, heaven created Adam and Lilith. After Adam demanded control, Lilith fled, eventually running into Lucifer, and the two of them ended up falling in love, with both of them being rebellious dreamers. One apple bite from Adam's new wife Eve, and banishment of Lucifer and Lilith later, hell was created. Or that's what it's supposed to be, anyway. Look, Hazbin Hotel's a good show, but this is less like hell and more like New Jersey with a red color palette, at least when looking at what actually happens in the city. Anyway, as hell changed over a millennia, Overlords began to take over, each taking command over a domain of influence which sinners submit to. And despite still being lower in class to those who are higher, like Lucifer and his daughter Charlie Morningstar, said higher-up characters can still be fearful of them because of that influence. As Overlords began to pop up left and right, rivalries and especially alliances formed. One of those alliances being the V's, composed of the sadistic and abusive Valentino, the critical and judgmental Velvet, and of course, the public face of the V's, the egotistical, tax-savvy businessman and their de facto leader, VOX.
Now that's good television!
Charismatic, manipulative, and the most level-headed of the V's, VOX presents himself as a man of the people to Hell's citizens, when in actuality, he's power-hungry and manipulates people only for the sake of him and his company's reputation, as well as a man-child who throws a fit whenever his and the V's brand of perfection is in jeopardy. Being one of the many overlords living in hell, VOX would naturally have to have some crazy abilities and feats to have earned that title. Being a denizen of hell, VOX, technically speaking, is already dead, and can only be killed again by angelic weaponry, with that being a pivotal plot point in Season 1. This effectively makes him undead, and therefore immortal.
Wait! Would that make me double dead? Where exactly do I go? To double hell?
According to Vivzy Pop herself, sinners like Serpentius, who overlords like VOX would upscale, more on that later, would make sense of demons being able to regenerate from things such as an amputated limb. Needless to say, there is no way you'd be able to put down these sorts of characters normally, as characters like VOX require a traditional way to actually kill them for good. Just like Overlords, VOX can get power by owning souls and having sinners sign theirs away via contract. VOX has claws and sharp teeth that could also potentially be used in a fight. He's able to hypnotize and mind control people by having them look into his eye or eyes. And finally, consistently throughout Hazbin Hotel, we see VOX manipulate and transform into electricity. There's also the fact that by transforming into electricity, he can travel through and control TV channels. He can see and hear through technology, and it also allows him to remotely control it through his studio. At full power, VOX can generate enough electricity to cause a blackout throughout the city of Pride Ring. More on that later. So, yeah, despite not really getting that much screen time in Season 1, at least when compared to other characters, in terms of powers and abilities, he has a lot more to work with than what someone might think at first. Now it's time to move on to physical stats. But before we do, it is worth noting that at the beginning of the Stayed Gone song in Radio Killed the Video Star, it was stated by Valentino that Vox and Alistair fought one another in the past, with Vox being the victor. Although, also stated by Valentino, Vox did almost lose. Either way, because of this, Vox should reasonably scale to Alistair, at the very least somewhat. Alistair has also proven to fairly easily beat characters like Serpentius, who powerful overlords like Vox should be more powerful than, according to the rankings of the Hell hierarchy. Alistair effortlessly destroyed Serpentius' airship. Judging by estimated measurements of things like the crater/explosion that was made, the airship itself, and Alistair's tentacles, we can take a guess that the destruction of Serpentius' airship required just under 200 tons of TNT, putting him at around multi-city block level. Given he can also upscale characters like Serpentius, Vox would also most likely be able to no-cell power equivalent to the explosion that sent Pentius flying right after. As mentioned earlier, Vox created a power outage throughout the city of the Pride Ring. Assuming this city is as largely populated as an average state like, say, New Jersey, we can assume that the amount of energy required for this would equate to over 600 trillion joules of energy, or just under 147 kilotons of TNT, which is large town level. For higher ends, in the Ready for This song in Season 1, Episode 7, Charlie refers to Hell's population as a billion needy faces. Replace that with New Jersey's population and you'd end up with over 266 quadrillion joules of energy, or just about 64 megatons of TNT, putting this feat at city level. Next we move on to speed. According to the official Hell hierarchy ranking, overlords like Vox should massively upscale imps and hellhounds such as IMP members, all of which have consistently dodged and outpaced bullets from firearms. And this last one might be a little debatable, but as mentioned earlier, Vox could also transform and travel as electricity, so there's also an argument for Vox to be massively hypersonic plus because of that. However, this is only when traveling through technology, so he still might be a little bit limited in that regard. Despite being one of the most dangerous overlords in Hell, Vox is not without his weaknesses. As stated before, angelic weaponry such as Vaggy's spear, Camilla's shoes, and Adam's guitar are the only thing that can bypass Vox's immortality. His anger can cause his technology to short-circuit by generating too much electricity, and, also as mentioned before, he is secretly a big man baby with a short temper. And that just about does it for what Vox is capable of. Season 2 of Hazbin is right around the corner. After Vox and his fellow Vs survived Extermination Day, what is next for them? Only time will tell. But for now, newbie sinners beware. If you ever cross the Vs, they'll make sure that you wish you stayed gone.
We are pleased to announce Vox Tech Angelic Security is coming soon. Trust us. With your safety.
Entertainment. The concept is as old as humanity itself. Since billions of years before Christ, early humans used storytelling, art, music, and dance to cure the seemingly incurable disease called boredom. Eons later, a new form of entertainment was born, called television. And in the world of SMG4, one person takes television and entertainment to an extreme level. Enter Puzzlevision's very own creator, entertainer extraordinaire himself,
the common denominator, the root of all your recent adventures. Mr. Puzzles! Pleasure to finally meet you.
Mr. Puzzles wanted nothing but to be an entertainer growing up, even aspiring to hold ownership over companies owned by himself, from a TV company to even his own theme park. But sadly, the latter was dismissed and shunned by his father, who claimed that he lacked the creative vision to build one. As a boy, Puzzles struggled to find friends growing up, but because of his passion and his dream of becoming an amusement park owner being shunned, he became obsessed with television, literally having watched every single show and film to ever have existed at the time. This obsession became so unhealthy, so engaging and engrossing with television, that it led to him cutting off his own head and replacing it with a TV. and he somehow survived. This course of action ignited his passion for entertainment to its peak, aiming to obtain a 5-star rating on every single one of his films that ended up on his independent streaming service, Puzzlevision. And when he stumbled across the SMG4 crew, he saw nothing but wasted potential on their adventures. So, he decided to slowly but surely coerce them and began to take over as the mastermind behind the events of It's Gotta Be Perfect, Western Spaghetti, WattFeed 2023, and of course, Puzzlevision and the Puzzle Park arc. More on that last one later. By doing so, he would emotionally manipulate the people in the main cast, such as SMG4, SMG3, and Meggy, and mentally push them down to their lowest point, eventually having such events become his own film, when in reality he makes them suffer and tortures them just for the sake of entertainment. Mr. Puzzles appears friendly and charismatic, but beneath that lies a mentally insane sociopath, rooted in a strong ego and desire for complete control. Yet he can also be calculating, scheming, and a manipulative genius. Said desire makes him not only ambitious, but persistent. He manipulates those around him for his own benefit, mainly the SMG4 crew, making them obsess over their goals. The majority of the Puzzlevision arc is where he demonstrates just how much control he has. All of this pretty much takes place within his TV dimension. In this world, he's basically a reality warping god. What he says literally goes. Or, in his own words,
My head, my rules.
he can spy through TVs as well as throughout the different channel worlds in his TV dimension, basically granting him full omniscience. He can manipulate TVs connected to the real world, not just Puzzlevision branded ones, and even duplicate himself with and pop out of them at any time. Hell, his control isn't even limited to just TVs. He can manipulate any form of technology, such as computers and printers, and can extend it beyond his TV dimension throughout the digital world. He can mute other people to prevent them from talking in case he finds them annoying, or some other reason. While sometimes unconventional, he has the ability to take off his head and remain completely fine and functional without one. He can also rewind time, teleport, break the fourth wall, and above all else, mind control people into playing their part as one of his actors. Finally, there's his creative control ability. This is achieved when Mr. Puzzles actually receives a full 5-star rating. It allows Mr. Puzzles to perform the same reality warping and technology manipulating abilities that he would have in his TV dimension in the real world, in which he becomes a massive threat. Then there's also his actors that he would logically scale above in this form, like SMG4 and Mario, the latter of which was able to destroy the entire Earth by taking a shit, and then the former was able to uppercut the Mario head, which can also destroy the entire planet. In Super Mario 64 Bloopers, Time Travel Tells, Mario inadvertently created a time machine that destroyed the very existence of the universe. He could also scale above characters such as Melanie, who defeated Zero, a cosmic eldritch entity that has destroyed many universes. Zero can also exist in the Great Beyond, which is a realm that exists outside of the universe. In terms of speed, once again scaling above SMG4, who ran from Earth to Uranus in 4 seconds, and ran from Neptune to the Sun in 2 seconds. The former feat would be 1.7 billion times faster than light, and the latter would be 7.2 billion times faster than light. After the Puzzlevision arc concluded and Mr. Puzzles was defeated for the first time, he pulled a William Afton and came back. He claimed that he'd given up on the whole 5-star rating shtick and was looking for new ways to totally not take over SMG4 show again and simply present and share his new ideas.
That's right. Ever since our last little kerfuffle, I've given up on the whole 5-star rating ordeal and figured it'd be a lot easier to just transform your show into my own. I mean, into something unique and cool instead. How does that sound?
Later.
Yes! Yes! This feeling! The world finally sees a true star of the show! Mr. Puzzles in all his glorious splendor!
So that was a fucking lie.
Anyway, after his plans fell apart, he decided to pursue a different kind of entertainment. He even stooped as low to create his own YouTube content farm channel called Puzzlebox, referencing the just as bad, if not worse, actual YouTube channel called Lankybox. Remember his dream of owning a theme park before getting into television that was dismissed by his father? Yeah, he decided to pursue that instead. After being pushed down to his lowest point, Didney, yes, Didney, not Disney, reached out to him and gave him an offer to join them. But instead, he ended up betraying Mickey Mouse, taking over Disney World in the process. And yes, once again, it's called that to avoid IRL Disney breathing down SMG4's neck. And that is how Puzzle Park was created, standing as a testament to prove his father that he was wrong about Mr. Puzzle's not having enough of a creative vision. What is seemingly a normal theme park is actually a minefield of death traps that Mr. Puzzles calls attractions, like the Femur Breaker or the Ball Crusher. Very interesting names. He also has seemingly normal games like a toy duck pond, a ball toss, bumper cars, or a merry-go-round that all will drag you into the fucking Shadow Realm. With the help of Leggy, Meggy but turned into a Goomba-like creature who's hypnotized, he eventually lured and captured all of the main cast with these death trap attractions, which kicked off WOTFE 2024. And that's not all. As soon as SMG4 and Mario knew something was up, and booked it towards the exit, Mr. Puzzles transformed the park into some sort of liminal space nightmare based on his inner thoughts and emotions. Almost like something you'd see out of an Alice in Wonderland fever dream. Upon entering the park's engine room, Mario and SMG4 discovered Mr. Puzzles hooked up to some sort of machine, which could allow him to manipulate everything in the park as if they were in the TV dimension inside his head again. Up to the point where Puzzles wasn't just controlling the park, he was the park. As powerful and omnipotent as Mr. Puzzles may seem, he is not without his faults. His weak spot is most notably his screen, as it does seem easily breakable, at least to characters like Mario or Mr. Weapons. If enough electricity is discharged into his body, it can cause a malfunction where both he and his opponent can be sucked into a TV parody. In some cases, Mr. Puzzles can accidentally brainwash himself. Just like an actual TV, Mr. Puzzles will also malfunction and possibly even break if exposed to liquid of any kind. There's also the fact that Mr. Puzzles is much more limited in his arsenal in the real world compared to the TV world, and is heavily reliant on the latter's power, at the very least during Puzzlevision. His creative control ability can also be nullified if another piece of media or company's rating rivals or surpasses it, as that is exactly how he was defeated in the Puzzlevision arc. After being defeated a second time, Mr. Puzzles was arrested and sent to jail. As he reflected on his past in his cell, he realized that what he was truly searching for wasn't fame or perfection. He simply needed a friend. Then he got a pet rock in prison and named it Leggy 2.0 and still swore to get revenge in the SMG4 cast. Fast forward a bit to modern times. It was ultimately revealed that Mr. Puzzles was on death row, sentenced to execution via the Death Cube. But before that, during his time in prison, Mr. Puzzles eventually finds out about and reaches out to Mr. Weapons, a pro assassin who tried to reconnect with his old partner and ex-wife, Karen. With both of them at rock bottom within their lives, they both decided to team up, with Mr. Puzzles promising Weapons that he would erase all of his memories of his family that plagued him with guilt and regret. Mr. Weapons, along with a criminal named Toomp, a squishy red creature with the power to shapeshift, broke Puzzles out of prison right before his Death Cube execution. Before being broken out, Mr. Puzzles reflected one last time. Naturally, since Meggy and Leggy were technically the same person, he was torn between getting the revenge on the main cast he desired and earning Meggy's trust to be her friend. He even made friends with Mr. Weapons and Toomp during their escape from prison. But sadly, he fumbled, not only unintentionally betraying Mr. Weapons, but also completely blowing his chance to redeem himself for the SMG4 crew, with the tearful Meggy being convinced that Mr. Puzzles will never change. Finally realizing the weight of his actions, Mr. Puzzles vows to mend what he has broken, to both Meggy and Mr. Weapons and Toomp. And that's where his story ends for now, at least at the time of writing this. Nevertheless, be prepared, for if you cross Mr. Puzzles, whether it be interfering with his goal of perfection or crossing his friends, his creative control will take over and make your life a living hell.
Grab a seat and let's seal the deal! When those gorgeous stars hit by, make a creative control of your real life! And scene!
So, with all that out of the way, two questions remain. The first being, who would win in a fight between these two TV-headed control freaks? The second being, could the answer to the first question be any more obvious? Mr. Puzzles absolutely dog-walks Vox along with the entire Helluverse. Mr. Puzzles' low end is 60 quintillion times greater than Vox's high-end scaling, and Mr. Puzzles' high-end being immeasurably more powerful through scaling to characters like Zero and Melanie. Vox scaling above characters from Helluva Boss, who are bullet timers, reach anywhere from single to low double-digit times faster than sound. Puzzles is billions of times faster than light, at least. Then there's their hacks and abilities. Mr. Puzzles has far more control over the digital world, especially with his TV dimension, where Mr. Puzzles can easily bring the battle to, at least in terms of versatility. Even if Vox did take control over Mr. Puzzles, he'd always have a backup body by popping out of another TV. Vox could freely travel around the TV dimension, but he'd still have no way to escape without Mr. Puzzles knowing, as shown when the SMG4 gang was about to escape and did, but only because Mr. Puzzles allowed them to because he had already gotten his 5-star rating. Nor would this really give Vox much of an advantage overall. Vox could possibly ruin Mr. Puzzle's rating, as he is also manipulative of his people, but sadly this would not work, as Mr. Puzzles draws his ratings from not just within his verse, but also from beyond the fourth wall, somewhere Vox has never reached before. While both of them are capable of mind control, neither have shown to be able to resist mind control either. However, Mr. Puzzles has proven to be longer lasting with it. Combine this with its speed advantage, and Vox would almost immediately get put in an extremely bad spot. Vox most likely cannot take control over the TV dimension, as Vox's prowess and technology manipulation has not shown to be anywhere near such dominance or versatility. Now, despite all of this, can Mr. Puzzles actually kill Vox? The latter can only be killed by angelic weaponry, which Mr. Puzzles has not shown to have access to, nor anything that could really correlate either. Technically speaking, no, he couldn't. However, just because Vox is immortal doesn't really mean he could simply survive anything. That sort of logic would kind of be fallacious as hell. No one in Helluverse has shown to be able to destroy planets, tank said planets blowing up in their face, or move at billions of times FTL. And all of this Mr. Puzzles can do without a 5-star rating. And there's no way that Vox would be able to regenerate from something like that. With an easy victory, it seems as though Mr. Puzzles' creative control would make Vox wish he'd stay gone. The winner is Mr. Puzzles. So what do you think? Not bad for a first power scaling video, I would say. Maybe when Season 2 of Hazbin wraps up, I'll make a Part 2 to this video. That is, assuming Vox would actually get notable stuff to work with. Maybe even Mr. Puzzles could get some new stuff as well. But either way, I am open to criticism in the comments, just please be respectful. Like and subscribe if you want to see more, and yeah, see ya.